I hope you're doing well. So today's video is another travel tips after camp video. So I've previously made a part 1 to this video where I talk about the planning process, who to go with, where to stay, and just that whole initial traveling after camp thoughts. So check that out if you haven't already. In today's video, I'm actually going to talk a little bit more about the logistics of traveling after camp, my top tips in terms of budgeting, how long to travel for, your Flexi return pass, in terms of your flights, your food, best transport methods whilst you're traveling. So all those like important logistical details that you will need when traveling after camp. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. On your J1 visa, you can travel for 30 days after camp, which is great. So it kind of gives you an idea of how long you'll still be in America for, but obviously you could travel home straight after camp, or you could keep traveling for those 30 days. So with Camp America, you get 2 options. You can either book a fixed return date, which is from New York normally, and you know exactly when you're returning home, and no matter where you are in America, you'll have to get back to New York to do that return date. However, they also offer a DIY return flight thingy-majiggy, which then gives you different Flexi passes. And the way it was when I did it was that you could pay, the more you paid, the more different airports you could return from. So obviously the most expensive pass was this Ultimate Flexi Pass, which gave you a variety of different airports to fly from, and you don't have to book your return flight until you're in America and quite close to the date. I actually did book the Ultimate Flexi Pass when I went, just because I was thinking, I have no idea where I'm going to end up. I'd rather that just not be an added stress. So if financially you can afford to do this, then I would recommend doing that. And also if you think, oh well, I want to go with a cheaper option of fixed or the cheaper DIY ticket where it's still in like New York airport, just kind of bear in mind of where you want to go traveling, because it may end up being the same price or even a little bit more to then fly back to New York from wherever you were. I flew back home from San Francisco after traveling from like New York and kind of all the way across the country, ending up there. And I was thankful for that in the end, because then I didn't have to get off and stop. When you're flying home, you're just kind of like, well, it is what it is. I'm flying home today. Like, I'd rather just get home than prolong it. That's what I would recommend. But obviously just kind of have a look into your options. Flexi return pass, even if you go for like the option where it's not all the airports, is definitely a better option if you don't know what you're going to do when you get to camp. Try to not rush it. Spend a good quality amount of time in each place, because even though you're like, yes, we've got 30 days, so this means we could actually go to like 15 different places in America, don't. Enjoy the different places that you're going to, and you know, I would say like 2 or 3 days minimum. We were in Washington for like 1.5 days, and I wish that we were there for longer. Other places we were there for like 4 days, and it was so nice because you just got to explore like things that you would never normally do and not be so rushed. Take advantage of your 30 days if you want, but all I'm saying is my 3 weeks was perfect and I was ready to get home in time for September. So then when it comes to your transport whilst actually traveling, I do have a few tips and tricks for you that I found were really helpful in terms of saving your money and being a little bit travel savvy, should we say, and things that, you know, probably did blow our money and we could have done a little bit easier. So I would say don't rule out flights. If you're wanting to go from, you know, New York to LA, obviously flight is probably going to be your best thing, because you know it's going to take up so much of your 30 days to travel all the way across, like on a Greyhound bus for example. And your other options which were great for us were mega buses or Greyhound buses. So we got a I think it was a megabus from New York to Washington. We got it early in the morning so that we arrived in Washington by like midday, and we still had all that time there. So I would definitely say either travel really early morning or even throughout the night, because even though you'll still be a little bit tired, like you're not wasting any of your days and you can catch up on your sleep when you get home. Megabuses, Greyhound buses, there's loads of different cheap ones, and honestly those journeys could be from like $20 or less. Like, it was so cool. Then obviously in your different cities you've got the public transport, and in my third video where I talk about where I actually went, I'll give you a few tips and tricks for those different places specifically. Definitely explore your public transport options because sometimes they can be cheaper than obviously taxis. It's a really good thing if one or two of the people in your travel group have data that's working on their phones, so that if you're ever stuck in the middle of nowhere like we were when we were in the Hollywood Hills and we were like, I can't be bothered walking all the way back down there, like how do we get down quickly? You might want to book an Uber. But obviously a lot of things can be done by foot or on bikes, or sometimes we even rented those like electronic scooter things. Then when it comes to budgeting and being like money savvy, is that kind of thing, I've got a few tips for you in how to do that, because not only have I done Camp America and travelled after camp there, I've also travelled around Europe and done interrailing, so I know how to travel on a budget and still have the best time. I did actually mention in one of my previous Camp America videos about a dollar card. I had a dollar card which I just transferred my English money over onto this card. It was all done through the app, and it just meant that I wasn't being charged like extortionate exchange rates and stuff like that, and I just bought everything through the dollar card in dollars obviously. But what was also great about that was that I could transfer whatever I wanted over, so I would only transfer what I was allowing myself to spend. You know, work it out before you go. You'll have time at camp or even before you go to camp to kind of work out how much roughly you'll be able to spend. Obviously it's going to vary between person to person in terms of their financials and obviously how much you're going to earn at camp and stuff, but just work out like how much you'll kind of allow yourself to spend and put that on your dollar card, so that then you're not tempted to then go and spend more. And then you can also think, actually, I've only spent like $5 today, like I can afford to go and do that or whatever. But I would also recommend keeping some money aside for emergencies or just last minute decisions that you need to do because otherwise you're going to be in a really crap situation. As I'll talk about in my personal stories video, we definitely did need some money aside for an emergency, where basically, long story short, you'll see it in the next video, but we chose a place to stay. We got there, it was so unsafe, and we were like, oh my gosh, we can't stay here. Where are we going to stay? Obviously our money had gone into this place and we were going to get it back, but not for the next couple of weeks. You still needed money then to find somewhere else and pay for that, and it ended up being a little bit more expensive than the original place, but it was like an emergency situation. Have some money, I'd say a few $100s just aside for those situations, and then, you know, hopefully you won't even need to use it, but it's, you know, it's good to kind of just have that, and you're not like coming back home and you've got zero money in your bank account. So then other little tips and tricks in terms of like being able to save your money. So I would definitely say like cook in, go shopping to the local markets, the supermarkets, and if you're in a group, obviously split the costs. You can buy some boxes of cereal in the morning or like snacks. Make your lunches for the next day rather than having to go out and buy lunch, and then making a bigger dinner. You know, we used to buy just like loads of pasta, some sauce, you know, that would be like less than $10. Obviously I do know I am a massive foodie, that like going around traveling and finding new places to eat is all part of it. So just kind of, you know, again, have some money set aside to treat yourself. It depends on kind of how long you're spending in those areas. We would probably go out maybe twice for a nice meal, and then have some money set aside each day for like going and getting an ice cream or an acai bowl or something like that. And obviously you've got to remember that America adds on, like if you're eating out for a meal, that you have to tip them, and they add tax costs on. And also if you do end up staying in like a hostel, still may be able to cook there, but a lot of the time the hostels also serve like free breakfast, free food, maybe like that if you're in a hotel as well. So just have that in mind when you're booking these places, and shove a few little like snacks in your pockets for later on. They were free, like why not? Do you know what I mean? When it comes to eating out and different places, do your research beforehand. Maybe let's like go outside of the tourist area, because it's going to be a little bit more expensive there, and you're going to find more like amazing food when it's not in a direct tourist area. So obviously you're going to have in mind like some things that you desperately want to do. I want to go up the Empire State Building, I want to go on a Hollywood Hills tour. That's absolutely fine, and make sure that you set aside money for that in advance. But there's some things that you can do for free and just have the best time without having to spend loads of money. So in these cities, I've discovered in Europe and also in America, free walking tours. Just Google it, literally free walking tour New York, you'll find it. And there's just people there in New York City or wherever that will walk you around and show you and tell you all these different things that you may have never known before, and they are free. So you just go around, and then they do expect you to just tip them but what you think they deserve. And obviously sometimes they probably deserve way more, but if you're on a budget and you're a young person, then just like split like $10 between all of you and give them a $10 note, and then what, it's been like $2-3 each. And obviously there's also like the free galleries, free museums. Take advantage of these free public areas, obviously in New York, Central Park, things like that. A few other quick tips: be flexible, take advantage of last minute deals. I mentioned in my previous video about having some wiggle room, you know, in your itinerary. It may be a last minute thing where you're like, oh, actually if we do this, or there's this deal here, we could get there so much cheaper. Traveling on Tuesdays is apparently, I can't really remember, but I googled it and it said traveling on Tuesdays is always a little bit cheaper. Claiming your tax back at the end. I don't know all the technicalities of that, but I know that, you know, if you are a UK citizen and you're on a J1 visa, I'm pretty sure you can claim your tax back. So keep your receipts maybe. So I actually asked a few different people if they had any questions in terms of traveling after camp, and I've just checked my phone after filming that video and seen a few more have come through. So somebody asked how much I spent during my travels. I can't remember a specific amount, but I would say going for like 3 weeks travel, about $700 to $1,000 genuinely. You can use the money that you got from camp obviously for your travel, so wouldn't worry too much about that. Oh my god, that sounds like a lot, but get saving now if you haven't already, because you will need that money, like I've mentioned in the video, for just having the best time possible. I have mentioned the dollar card thing as well previously, so that's the best way of spending, but that was another question that was asked. Was obviously pack lightly. Watch my Camp America packing video in terms of what to pack, but it may be a case of you having to throw things away as you go traveling, because your suitcase is probably going to be really full and really heavy, and especially on those internal flights you may end up having to pay a little bit more if your suitcase is really heavy. So just keep that in mind. Throw some things away that are just like t-shirts, bulky things that are taking up space when you want to then go and buy a Empire State hoodie or something like that you really want to keep. So I hope you enjoyed this video and it's given you a little bit more of an insight in terms of like your logistics, your budgeting, your transport, your tips in terms of like saving money and being money savvy. If you've got any other questions, then let me know in the comments below and I will answer them for you, of course. If you did enjoy this video, then make sure to give it a thumbs up and please subscribe, because I really don't want you to miss out on my future Camp America travel videos and just other videos in general, really. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys!